Hello and welcome back to the Clarity Conference.
Hey, we're back.
We're back.
We are back. It's been years since I've been in this room.
John's got a
It's
mullet
been
now. No.
No.
Oh, one thing
Right.
I have to do. I have to fix camera because it's slightly tilted.
Ah,
Excellent.
1 second, people.
well, it looks like this is going to get cut in post-production.
Absolutely.
Jay had one job before setting all this up.
Hey, I have every fucking job on this thing.
What are you talking about? Okay.
So today, the topic is on the line between insanity and creativity.
Very interesting. Very fine line.
Very touchy topic with today's I guess current affairs.
How so?
Just with like people being called out for being I guess mad and mentally ill. Whereas we don't really know the line between what makes somebody crazy and what makes them a genius, because what gets a genius to that spot in the first place?
Exactly. That's true.
I think before we start saying who is genius and who is an insane person,
I'm genius.
you are.
I'm a genius.
I think if anything, we should clarify the definition of creativity and insanity. And I got up the insanity definition
Oh, good,
by
yes.
Oxford Dictionary, and the definition of it is the state of being seriously mental ill to madness. And it also exhibits extreme foolishness or irrationality. While the definition of creativity is simply the use of imagination or original ideas to create something, inventiveness. With that something in mind, where would you draw the line of something being so unique, special, and innovative, where it borders the line of madness?
Well, that's the thing. I think you need to be mad
Yeah. I think
in
it's a
order.
mixture.
You need to be open to having crazy ideas and being a mad person to get to those innovative ideas, because I guess, like, obviously, like the definition says that like crazy people are rational, right, and like out of the ordinary sort of thing. But then how is anything ever created from scratch without being out of the ordinary?
Exactly.
Right?
Like if you're to be creative and create something new and innovative, it wouldn't be innovative if there weren't people saying, "Oh, that's mad. Why would you create it?" Because then it would just be the same as what it's always been, which isn't innovative.
That's right.
Mm.
It's like a new stage, you know what I mean? Like how do we make new things without how can we make anything new and original without being called like crazy? You know, I bet you like Steve Jobs and all that, he was
Oh yeah, it would have been like called a madman.
the people who made the first computers like, oh, you know, you're making a big investment, like this is
Okay, I'm making
This
a
is
box and you can use it.
Hmm.
Like, bro, that sounds dumb as hell. Like, what the hell? Making a box.
Why the hell are you doing all of this in a goddamn garage?
Then that's true as well. That's like, yeah. Oh, and it's also like I mean, I don't think Elon. No, I forgot who it was. Someone that invented like PayPal. He just started it with his homie, like in his house, just chilling on the computer and just created PayPal. Like,
yeah,
how?
that's pretty.
How do you just create PayPal?
It's pretty insane. But I guess like the whole idea of like having to get to the stage of being a genius. So the probably tables are a little too far, but
Actually, maybe a bit more fancy.
Oh, holding the cup, I see.
Yes.
Do the little pinky.
No, Matthew, you got to take one as well.
Okay.
No, you got to
Actually-
take the sauce.
I don't know if he can. He might.
I don't
Balancing
wanna,
act.
I do not want to, damage my laptop. Thank you.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Cheers, lads.
Salud.
Salud.
But yeah.
Salud. Pinky out there.
Either way, with this whole, have a sip. Thank you.
You have to. You have to. That was a toast to the Clarity Conference starting up again.
Exactly, the return.
The return.
Either way, though, with us talking about the line between creativity and insanity, is there exactly, because I'm looking at the notes we got, and you wrote, or someone wrote Kanye West.
Oh. Kanye West.
Oh, Kanye West.
Who wrote
Kanye
that
West.
on the notes? I want to know who wrote
That was
was it
me.
you? Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Joe.
that.
me.
You wrote Kanye West. Genius or crazy?
Yeah,
Can you elaborate on that?
Genius.
genius.
Elaborate.
Well,
Why?
Well, I mean but that's a discussion. That I'm not saying that he's either one or the other. I'm opening a discussion between that'll be a good like discussion topic to sort of discuss like whether because he's out of the ordinary. He says some
absolutely.
crazy shit, right? But like,
Yeah.
doesn't every genius that comes up with amazing things say some crazy shit?
Bro, he's making music. He's not exactly like altering the world.
No, but he
Well, he
did
kinda did.
fashion,
He kind of did.
like with Yeezy. Like he's the main like supporting foundation of Adidas these days.
Yeah,
even how
Adidas-
Adidas cut him off. They're signing him again.
Yeah,
they
look,
need him.
No, how crazy is that, right? Like everybody in the world is like pretty much like I mean anyone on like the left wing pretty much is against Kanye right now, right? Yet one of the biggest fashion companies, after signing him off for some of the things that he said,
Yeah,
like brought him back onto the company.
yeah.
And
Because
see how much they need. Like they lost so many sales.
Oh yeah, no,
since-
they lost like $1 billion in a day or like more from just like the day
after
he left,
after
like,
they signed,
he left.
after they got rid of Kanye.
I don't think as a business like Adidas, they do not care what political spectrum they're on. They just care about making money.
Oh well, that's the no.
That's like the
thing.
interesting thing because I agree with you, but then at the same time they like cut him off.
Because they were doing a reputation thing. They realized, oh no, we cut him off and we're losing money. There's a clear connection, correlation.
Yeah, but why did they cut him off? Why did they cut him off in the first place?
Because
Because of his political.
yes,
Because so they do care about the political.
they care about making money, and they thought because if they stay partnerships with him, they would lose money.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But then,
it's
in a
less
sense,
political, and it's about like what's the best way to make money and what's the best way to avoid losing money.
Because I also feel like a lot of companies just turned against Kanye just because other companies were doing it.
Yeah,
Like-
it's a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's like most people would not continue to support their brand if they were associated with someone who everybody associates with hate speech and anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
how you say Semitism?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
You're talking to someone who has a speech impediment. No way asking me.
No, it's more for Joe, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Oh,
kidding.
well, let's see. I understand. You grunk.
Yeah, well, I mean, like one of his very famous quotes from his album.
I already think I know what you're about to say. I said I know it was on the note page, but I already think I know what you're about to say.
It is name one genius that
It
ain't crazy. It's true. Every genius is
Because, right,
crazy.
Look at Einstein. He was, bro. Like respectfully, bro was a weirdo. Like, have you
Yeah, but
seen-
I think he had autism though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Did it?
Oh, okay.
You
Well, then
think
that's
you're-
true.
Yeah,
Actually,
he does. Yeah, I think he had Asperger's. Yeah, so that's why he was like, I think he was known as like a very socially awkward person, and so he'd spend a lot of time. Look, don't like.
Yeah,
I didn't know the
don't
bloke,
quote,
right?
yeah.
I didn't know the bloke, but
Why Why not?
Crazy enough, and
I'm just looking up on the internet. Does Einstein have autism?
yeah, I think he did. Yeah, and that's what I mean, I've heard that.
No,
Yeah, Asperger's.
it's
Yeah,
never.
Asperger's.
It's never confirmed.
Yeah, but
Huh.
you look up Einstein Asperger's.
Okay, where did this conversation go? Because I have a source here.
Yeah, he showed traits of
Yeah, no, 'cause,
Asperger's.
like,
Like, it wasn't ever like confirmed, but I don't think it was really like it may have not been like a diagnosis.
yeah,
when he
'cause have
was-
you also like seen his desk like before he died and stuff like that? Like how messy it was. Have you guys seen? There's like a famous photo or something, or like
But like trying to
Like-
diagnose someone with autism or anything based on like biographical information is just not reliable.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah. But how do you think they diagnose people for autism? They don't diagnose
because they
them.
have to go in session in physical appointments to see them.
Yeah, but it's like based on traits. It's based on like what they do, their behavior, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but there was there was probably no diagnosis for autism.
Wait, so when was Einstein? I forgot. Like, when was he alive again? It was like
World War One or World War Two.
Yeah,
around
it
that
was-
period of time.
1879 to 1955.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
both
yeah.
World
So
Wars. That's right, because he left Nazi Germany during World War Two to either go to the UK or the Americas.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So where were we? We went off topic a little bit.
Kanye West, name one genius thing crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess he's like an example of a figure that some people would consider a genius and others would consider him crazy, mentally ill. But I mean, like my personal opinion is that like he's a bit of both. Like I think he's got some things going wrong with him. Like I know he's got bipolar.
Yeah.
So like he is mentally ill, but I also feel like he's like, I know this is from something that you've seen as well, that he's like too much of a genius, or like he's too much of a genius to like sort of just like throw away.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we go on further, can you just clarify your definition of genius? Like, is it someone who is musically gifted?
No, somebody who is
academically smart?
influenced. It could be in any industry, but somebody who has influenced that industry
So
like
an
another
influencer.
level. Like
So not a genius,
Somewhat.
but an influencer.
no. Somebody who has like changed the way that industry is perceived, or boosted like the performance of it by a shit ton.
So influencer.
No, not an influencer. You could say a social media influencer is somebody who's just on social media portraying their creative work or something. It doesn't mean they're necessarily changing the whole industry. Like
Yeah, but they're
Like-
influencing the industry that they're partaking or a part of.
yeah, they're influencing it, but that doesn't mean that they're like. I don't, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. Like where this is another point that we could talk about. It's like where's the limit? Where do you start calling someone a genius? Like, at what point do you start calling him a genius?
I would
Like,
call someone a genius, at least in my definition, someone who has specialized, I would say, cognitive function in a particular area. Like, I wouldn't say someone's a genius who knows everything and is smart. I would say someone's a genius if they know a particular topic
Here we go.
of a academic field, which is an advanced level of knowledge, I would say.
I feel like while I agree with that, like I feel like it doesn't have to be an academic. It doesn't have to be an academic field. It can be a creative field, like within music, within just any other sort of creative field, I guess. Like the actual definition of a genius is exceptional intellectual or creative power or other natural ability. So somebody with like an ability that's out of the ordinary within their specialized field.
See, that's interesting because would you consider, like, for me, with the ability, I wouldn't say like an athlete can be a genius. You know what I mean? Like, let's say LeBron. I would say he's the greatest basketball player of all time. He's probably one of the greatest athletes of all time, in my opinion.
But he's not a genius.
Yeah, and
Well,
I don't
you
know if
could-
athletes can athletes be like a. I'm not trying to discredit them. I'm just like,
If they're
can an athlete be a genius?
if they're in
Like-
some way like analyzing the the game of basketball itself and using that to their
Oh,
advantage.
good point. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, for example.
might be a yeah.
Yeah,
That was-
like in the way, like he did it in a. Here's a good way of putting it. It's like different from everyone else in the way that he performed
He
in
played his own game.
in
He
his-
like, yeah.
That's right. That's right. He sort of changed the way that normal people, the average basketball player thinks about basketball.
Yeah,
He did it in a way that was completely different from everyone else,
yeah,
and he
exactly.
excelled because of that.
Yeah,
So that's where you could say
he is a genius.
Kanye's the same sort of area where he thought he did music in a completely different way, and he influenced that many people in that industry that made him excel in that area
Exactly.
above everyone
And
else.
because the people that have said in the past that they've been influenced by him are also great themselves, right? Because I did an assignment on this a few years ago on Kanye. The main people that have been influenced by him that have like said this is like Drake. Drake's obviously one of the greatest artists of all time as well. Lil Wayne, Kid Cudi, Travis Scott. I mean, this is mainly like hip hop, so you know, but like,
So
It's just-
you guys would classify more of the creative aspects of someone being a genius.
So you-
yeah, I mainly do.
I would think so, yeah.
Mm. What
And
about
I
more,
mean, but it can also be within academics, sure.
like intellectual?
Yeah, I
I-
also think that. But for me, whenever I think of a genius, I tend to focus much more on like the creative side.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
celebrities, influencers, athletes, like modern day social norms and everything.
Modern day. I don't know. It's more.
Because a lot more
Dunno.
modern day people are celebrities, athletes.
No.
influencers.
It does. Somebody who's a genius doesn't have to be somebody who's famous.
Well, how else would you know about them?
No, but they
Like
but
the
somebody.
people that you're talking about, I mean.
Yeah, but you know,
Because all the geniuses that you guys are saying, they're more of the creative aspects and not the intellectual ones.
oh no, they can be, but
Hmm.
what we're saying
They're
is,
known for their creative aspects.
I feel like the main way you can define a genius is in one word: innovation. So like,
You don't want to be rude and cough in the mic.
probably picked up in Joe's microphone. But no, I think it's more about innovation.
Got it.
It's more like a point of difference in the way that they what's the word? In the way that they actually attack their specialty or whatever, like their industry.
'Cause
So
you
it's
know
like
what-
it's like a point of difference.
Exactly. The one word that always I associate with genius is revolutionary.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just how I seem to associate geniuses, like a revolutionary individual.
Yeah. Because I have like at least one person that I set on an example coming into this episode. Have you guys ever heard of Alan Turing?
No.
No.
Very popular guy back in the, I would say, World War II era.
Yep.
Genius. Like, I got some of his titles and major contributions. He was mathematician, cryptanalysis, logician, philosopher, mathematical
Stealing our job.
biology, and his contributions later eventually gave way to computer science, cognitive science, artificial intelligence, and artificial life.
So yeah, that is a genius right there.
Like
if
he-
his contributions contributed to that.
Yeah, he's considered
Yes.
one of a founding father for artificial intelligence in today's society.
Yeah.
And his contributions for the work that he did around World War II area period, especially breaking. Do you guys know what the Enigma code is?
No, like
Not
I've
too
like heard
familiar with. Like, I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with
the
it.
name that rings a bell, but I got no idea what it
Long
is.
story short, it's basically a bunch of German codes that were decrypted, and Alan Turing's team and bunch of other analysts used a machine to break the code, which would more or less be considered one of the first, I would say, artificial intelligence.
Oh, so it's like a code that nobody could sort of
Yeah,
like
a
crack.
code
Oh, is this-
nobody could crack.
Wasn't there a movie on it?
There
That
was
really...
a Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes, that's
What is it? Oh, what is it again? The
Intimidation
something.
game.
No. There's
Which one?
Intimidation game or something.
Yeah, because I remember I saw the trailer for it like years ago when it was in like cinemas.
Hmm.
If I'm thinking of the right movie, it's not too old, isn't it? It's like 2015.
2019.
No. 4 years off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I swear I've seen like trailers on it and everything. So that's what it is, the Enigma code.
Yeah, it was basically a bunch of German codes that no one could decipher. Alan Turing's team and himself basically spent months, weeks, and because of his effort, you can argue that he's considered why World War II ended earlier than it should have. Like World War II could have theoretically lasted 5-7 more years, but because he deciphered and broke the German codes, particularly about submarines in like the Pacific Oceans and such,
Yeah.
with U-bombs and such, They were able to like pinpoint where they are, where they were going, their objectives, the inside minds of like headquarters inside Berlin, Germany, and they were able to like counter, plan, execute, and basically by the end of it, they won World War II in 1945.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A beast.
Yeah, this guy was full on genius. He basically graduated from the University of Cambridge, King's College, and then I think he went to another college in America
Yeah.
straight after that in like 1935. All of that, this guy was like a full-blown genius. But as like we're talking about the line between creativity and insanity, this guy also had some weird kinks. Oh yeah.
Such as.
Oh, for
I'm worried.
I'm intrigued.
Oh no, exactly.
No,
Hey,
no,
man.
not se-
No, I know,
not
I know,
sexual.
but like,
You
I'm
guys-
worried of what this guy might have done.
No, because during World War II, what he used to do, first day in school, he, for example, did like 20 miles bike ride from his house to college. That's one of the
What a
more
legend.
tame ones. And he arrived on time despite leaving late. So he was very athletic, but like being an academic person. Besides this, he would also wear a gas mask from his house to his research lab where he would break the Enigma code.
Huh.
Following along?
Wait,
Yeah.
why? Yeah, okay.
I can't exactly tell you why. Very long time ago since I researched this, but and besides that, he would always ride a bike from anywhere he would go. But the thing is, his bike chain was always broken. And the thing is, apparently he would count or measure the cycle of each click the bike chain would go. And just before the bike chain would break, he would fix it on the fly as he's riding instead of ever replacing it. And he would just count it in his head.
Yeah, see, that's a very good example of like genius or insane.
Hmm.
Because for you to go that into detail on
Oh, there's
something
more.
so like
There's more.
trivial.
There's more.
There's more?
There's more.
I'll let you continue. I'll let you continue.
Besides this, he would also get an iron chain and a lock and put it around his coffee mug and tie it to a radiator so then no one would steal his mug.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
So there was definitely some odd behavior with Alan Turing. But then again, this guy did so much and gave so much way for like today's modern society. I guarantee you most of the equipment here in this room, like the computers and everything, would probably be like the equivalent of like early 2000s in today's society. Because that's how much he influenced and contributed to today's
Oh, you
society.
mean like he's had some contribution to what's in this room, pretty much? That's what you're
100%,
saying.
the computers, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for him, we would have the equivalent of the computers in the 2000s
Yeah.
in this decade.
Yeah.
So like, so do you think like, in order for these things to like come to fruition, like all these new technological advancements and all of that, like we need those cooked people.
Yes,
we need
I
those
think so.
people that are
Need
real
them.
fucking cooked in their head, like they tie their fucking mug to a radiator so people can't steal it. Like we need those people, those types of people with that mind, because people that aren't like that don't come up with crazy ideas.
Exactly.
And
then
they don't think
like in
things
the norm, and then they don't create anything innovative.
So do you think you would rather be a genius and a spastic, like, and like a
crazy person.
like a crazy person?
Yes.
Like, you know.
I mean, there's the thing.
But then you risk that social aspect of your life as well, depending on how cooked you really are.
Yeah.
But like, if it gets to the point where like your social interactions are affected by that as well, then it's kind of hard. But
I mean, the thing is, though, same thing happened to Alan Turing. Like, he was that smart and that gifted. He was awarded the Order of the King of the British Empire, like during his time, his service and everything. He's so smart, everything, but all of that was kept secret. You don't know what happened after his contributions in World War II for like helping the Allies, everything.
yeah.
Guess what happened to him? Just guess. Give me an example right now, Joe.
Oh, what?
Big
Oh,
Joe.
really?
Give me an example. What happened to Alan Turing after his major contribution of breaking German
Oh, like
codes?
people stole credit,
Okay, stole
essentially.
credit. You? What
or,
about-
or like he got very got like done.
Yeah, like
He got
probably tried
cleaned
to
up.
like silence him or end him.
So, fun fact about Alan Turing: he was a homosexual.
Yep.
But in 1945, in Great Britain, the legalization of homosexuality wasn't until the 1960s, and this was in 1945. And once he got found out, like in the last 2 years of his life, he was basically arrested, confined, and sent to a mental institution where he was subjected to hormone therapy to basically render him unable to have sex anymore, or have no intention to have the need for sex.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And how he died? Suicide. But let me tell you how the suicide went out. One morning, his maid came into his office one morning to find his dead body at his desk with a half-written to-do list and a half-eaten apple.
Yeah.
They never checked for poison.
Yeah. So they were just like,
So,
And
They were just trying
the
to cover it
government
up.
and the police
Yeah.
ruled it as a suicide,
yeah.
even though there was a half-written to-do list in front of him. And it wasn't until like 2009 when the prime minister at the time came out to the public, because there was like the public was lobbying, whatever the
oh yeah, I don't know.
lobbying.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, let me look it up. Give me a second. Lobbying. Okay. In form of with the intention of influencing decisions made by the government by individuals or usually by lobby groups. It includes all attempts to influence legislations and officials, whether by other legislators, constitutional organized groups. Pretty much, you're trying to influence people to do like something
Yeah.
that they don't want to do.
Right. Okay.
So they forced the prime minister to basically say, pardon Alan Turing because he was a criminal for said time. So the prime minister in 2009 came out, I apologize, the treatment that Alan Turing got was inhumane, unjust, but they didn't pardon him because the UK justice system said that he was still a criminal for the times of the laws when he was convicted.
Right.
But then no one liked that because it just seemed ridiculous and wrong for him to go to prison, get sentenced to an insane asylum where he was forced to take drugs, hormone drugs and everything. And a lot of people rioted, especially Stephen Hawking, for example. And I can't remember the exact quote he said, and I'll be paraphrasing, but he said along the lines that the UK government can commit atrocities and ask for forgiveness, but they can't give forgiveness for a man for coming out as a homosexual.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2013 where I think the prime minister got a phone call from the Queen herself, long live the Queen, that gave Alan Turing a royal pardon. So at least then, from 2013 onwards, he wasn't seen as a criminal, which honestly he shouldn't have been to begin with. And then that's how we got the movie with Benedict Cumberbatch and everything.
Yeah.
And I think in 2019, the Banker UK legacy, legislation.
Legislation.
There you go.
Legislation.
Head up. Okay, speech impediment. Came out and they announced that they were going to make Alan Turing's likeness on the £50 notes
Ah.
with
very nice.
with some of the original like cipher keys and notes.
Yeah.
Oh,
in
sick, yeah.
like the pound.
Yeah, it's cool, but like it's just like, you know, they're just trying to like
Same
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
The same with face.
One thing that I find interesting from the whole story is, I guess, what's it called? Insanity is like completely subjective because when being a homosexual was criminalized, right? You know how he came out. Well, they found out that he was gay, and then they sent him to, he said, an asylum, correct?
Because it was a crime, and also they didn't want the Soviet Union at the time to use as blackmail.
Exactly, right? So it's like back then they would have seen being a homosexual as some form of mental illness. Whereas
Yeah.
obviously now it's completely different.
Yeah,
You know,
so
like, yeah,
normal.
exactly. It's just normal, it's accepted and everything. So it's interesting to see that the definition of insanity is just subjective.
To be
Like-
fair, a lot of words in the English or most languages change over 100
Yeah,
years.
exactly. That's yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have Latin that
it's
evolved into like
dead language.
Proto-Italian. Actually, no, it was Latin and
Like,
Germanic.
respectfully, it's a dead language.
Excuse me, it's the
Latin's dead.
I'm learning it. What are you on about?
You actually?
No,
Okay, I was gonna say, wait a second.
the lag.
Bro,
But
like,
was it
who
Germanic?
speaks Latin nowadays?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Go
Bro's,
to- go to
like,
Europe.
if I pull up to
Bro,
someone, they
stuck in the past.
Bro's, if I just pull up to like someone start a conversation with them and they start going lorem ipsum fucking
Yeah.
like
Imperium Roma.
I recognize that one.
It's like irrelevant, man.
Wait, how Memento Mori?
Yeah, like all that stuff.
Lorem ipsum, whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that on every like
I think it's just.
default canvas?
I think because it's like the default of all language. We're getting into
Is it
something really deep
different?
here,
Yeah, yeah.
but like everything came off of
Lorem
Latin pretty much.
Long live the Legion.
But yeah, going back to like creativity and insanity, I did a little bit of research, and like there's research that suggests that the line between creativity and insanity is a very fine one, because they tend to share the same traits and the same genes as well. Like it has been found
Interesting.
that people who are crazy and geniuses, I guess, they share very common traits. Like so yeah, says insanity is a fine one, but a small group of people known as schizotypes or schizotypals are able to walk it with a few problems and even benefit from it. So they're saying like people who are insane, considered insane or genius or both, they tend to, I guess, own that and walk around with like few problems, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they benefit from these genes, you know. So like really, you know, who are we to say that like being crazy is a bad thing? You know what I mean?
That's true.
I think
it
someone's
is like-
looking for immortality. It's like, guys, I have the research to fund immortality. And then we give him the funds, and then he starts killing people.
Wait, what are you talking about now?
Because I think anyone can claim to be a genius and say, oh, I can do it.
Yeah,
And then
but
they're
it's
just
not-
a
but it's not-
madman.
It's not people like claiming to be genius. It's other people recognizing that they have that they have qualities of a genius.
Mm.
Like people who are innovative and have changed the world.
Mm.
Those people, like, I think we'd all consider to be geniuses. But yeah, like they share like this particular gene called neurogelin 1, which is linked to creative people and psychosis / depression.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
so people who are, so people who have depression and people with creative traits share this gene, this neurogelin 1 gene. So I thought that was a fun fact.
Well, that's very interesting because that would help to explain why, as a typical like stereotype, that geniuses are very introverted, socially awkward, and I feel like that's kind of being broken.
Yeah.
In like, I feel like that stereotype isn't really as common now. Like, I don't know, because I feel like
I mean, I still think a lot of colleges would rather have a guy that can throw a ball really far than a guy that can do complex mathematics.
yeah, exactly. That's true, exactly, because sports is only getting like bigger, more recognized.
Mm.
So it's just interesting to see how society's like changing.
So
Like,
you're saying that so what were you saying about
also because
the-
you said that what was the
The gene?
the
yeah,
gene, yeah.
like because it's found in both people that have like depression, you said, and geniuses,
Yeah, like creative people.
creative people. It's like I'm saying that helps to explain why usually like creative people or like geniuses are like socially awkward and well, not like depressed, but just
Yeah. They're like
Introverted,
they're sort of like isolated
yeah.
in a sense.
I mean, at the very least, like I can think of one introverted person who cut off their ear and gave it to their lover.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Van
Man, go.
Let him go.
he let his ear go. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, okay. On the topic of Van Gogh, would you say that he is a genius, Van Gogh?
Well, like, see, I don't know enough about the
Yeah,
about the guy. Like,
I was about to say about the bloke.
yeah, I don't know enough about the bloke. Look, I didn't know him personally, but
Yeah,
no,
I did.
no, I'm kidding. But you did.
Yeah, it was an okay guy.
How was he? Yeah.
I was alright. Slightly annoying sometimes, but
Oh my god, well, you know him personally?
Rangers be like, no, I'm kidding. Wasn't he a Ranger? He had red hair, didn't he?
He was a Rango.
I never knew that.
No wonder he cut his ear off. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. No. It's basically, long story short, famous painter. and
Shout out to
such.
the redheads out there.
Shout out to Ed Sheeran.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Oh.
screw that guy.
Yeah. You know, okay. So,
I'm just saying him personally. I'm not a fan of Ed Sheeran. Like, there's many. Justin
me
Bieber's
neither,
better.
me
Justin,
neither.
I mean,
There's a bit of truth. There's a bit of truth to screw Ed Sheeran.
yeah. I mean, sidetracked. I'm excited for his new album, Subtract.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
know what that
because
is.
he's done X, which was like 2017. Then he did Plus.
Yeah.
His
Equal.
most recent one's Divide, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
Divide. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
And
He's
that's
doing algebra. He's a genius.
damn straight. But yeah, no. Pretty much, Van Gogh was
He
like
was good.
a dust impressionist, a painter who basically done, I would say, over 2,000 paintings, and that
Light
would
work.
basically had some famous and influential figures. He was one of the most famous and influential figures in Western art history, but he was also known to have some delicate sensitivity considering his mentality and such.
Yeah,
For
like his
example-
tempo is like terrible.
And also, he was, I guess, very attached to his wife so much that he always wanted to have a piece of him with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
But yeah, would you say, giving your guys a definition earlier, that creative people such as musicians and that are geniuses, that Van Gogh is a genius?
Oh yeah, but like,
Yeah, I feel like-
yeah, I don't, yeah. Well, I mean,
Because
Wait, was he-
you can't say people that.
but he was just
I mean,
he was an artist.
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's
and-
still a creative aspect.
yeah. But that's the thing. That's the thing, Matthew. Like, I don't know enough about his work to make a judgment off of that. Like,
But,
but I can say based on like how other people see him
Yeah,
and like
that's,
why
that's
he's
what
so.
I'm thinking too, because I don't know
Yeah.
much about him, but I know that he is regarded as like one of the goats. So it's just funny calling like those painters like goats, but yeah, he's like one of the goats. Like
Yeah, and yeah. So
he's
I
like
mean,
LeBron
I,
James.
Yeah.
I,
But, like,
don't know if I can
given-
consider. But
Given
I
your
would
knowledge
think-
on Van Gogh and what I've told you, would you say, just from your definition earlier, him being influencing Western art history,
he would be considered
Yeah,
somebody
probably.
who's a genius. Yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah.
I'll probably say so too. Yeah.
but would you also say that him cutting off his hair would make him insane?
Like, well, yeah,
I
but
feel like it kind of has to, because like there's no good reason to cut it off unless there was, I don't know, like an infection or something like that. But from what we know of and from what I know, he just did it purely from his own will. He just felt
you-
like it, which is like you can't really defend that. Like you
Can
can't
you
just
think-
cut off your ear.
can you guys think of one genius? All right, that's it. Next question.
No, continue.
Can you guys think of one genius that doesn't have some weird behavioral traits?
No.
Me.
You have a lot of weird behavioral traits.
Mother ducker.
No, I don't
I'm
think
kidding.
so.
Like
And-
literally, like there's okay, like for example, Elon Musk, like he has a few weird social traits. He's like
No.
kind of socially awkward.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
can see the way that he talks to people and stuff.
Stephen
I
Hawking.
think he's probably got some weird shit behind them. Yeah.
Don't you dare
No,
say
we'll
it.
go past that one. We'll go past that one.
dare.
Stephen
Let's go.
Hawking.
Mark Zuckerberg, he's a lizard. Like that's
He's
fucking
a
weird.
lizard.
Like, he's
Yeah,
a
it's
lizard,
fucking
bro.
weird.
I mean, to be fair, what did Mark Zuckerberg do? He
Did he steal
he-
Facebook?
He stole Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen
he
that like a
helped-
documentary thing. You know,
He
the-
helped
Yeah, the movie,
make
wasn't
it? Yeah, that's
Facebook,
it.
but he basically stole it.
Yeah,
And then he just took the credit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because with what you're saying, Joe, with the name a genius that hasn't gone through controversy with things like that.
Just like mute your microphone for a minute.
Yeah,
when
like
Joe's
with the things like that, it goes back to Jordan Peterson, right? With the chaos and order and like the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
There's always has to be like a mixture,
Yeah.
or I wouldn't say balance, or balance / mixture, because if you are so great at something, there has to be people that misunderstand you or call you crazy, or else you're not great enough.
Like a
Because
different path, right? Like
Exactly. You're
And-
on a completely different thing, and that's what makes you a genius. Because if you're on the same path as everyone else, you're respectfully not a genius.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like if you're on like a path to creating something new or innovative or anything, you have to go away from what's already
been done.
existing.
Exactly.
Right, you have to go off on like this new path and come up with new ideas. Because if you don't, it's like literally goes back to the basic phrase: you got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Right? Like the average person thinks within the box, and of course everybody's going to consider those people normal, and the average person, right?
Mm.
Like, because everybody thinks like that, but it's the people that go off and create these new ideas and come up with these new things that are called crazy, because everybody else is within is within this box,
Mm.
you know. And so that I get, like, I think calling people, like, I think craziness is like not really like a fair thing.
Yeah, like a fair assumption.
A fair assumption to make about these people, because, you know, like, what really is like a crazy person? Like, just somebody who thinks differently to other people?
Yeah, like it's just unfair to say, you can't just throw it out. It's so
we all-
loosely used.
Yeah, and yet eventually we all get to the point where we're utilizing that person's ideas in our everyday life, and then that becomes normal.
Yeah, so it's like you just contradict. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, you're literally just, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like with computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the person who made the first computers and all that is called like crazy. You know, what are you doing? What's this internet bullshit? You know, all this crap. And then how it's become a normal part of society, and anybody who doesn't have a computer is weird.
Exactly, because everyone,
Or
when
like,
the
you know,
internet
like
was
even
first,
computer, I mean like
Like, yeah,
mobile
mobile,
devices,
yeah.
anything.
when the internet was first being developed, there was a lot of hate against it in regards to like jobs and stuff like that. People going like, oh no, it's gonna, you know, ruin society and stuff like that. Man, maybe it has, but also look at the good it's done.
I mean, at the same time, they complain, that thing, like something new and innovative takes place in like modern day society. That thing's going to take away jobs. Well, as much as it's going to make some jobs obsolete, it's also going to create new ones. Exactly. Because you need people who can create it, maintain it, do maintenance on it and such and everything. It's like the same thing about when, like, you guys would say the internet got existed. Same things about like the books, when books were invented or widely used. They were like, why are you using books? Like, it's such a waste of time. You're just reading words on paper. It's not going to like do anything.
Yeah.
But we became so popular, like reading books and everything. Same thing happened to the internet. Now we use the internet.
Exactly.
And when like something else happened, like VR or virtual reality or something, that will become prominent. We're going to start using that more often, and then something after that.
It's like
something
these
after
things that are called innovative and creative and out of the ordinary now will eventually become a part of our normal, you know, not all ideas. You know, some ideas are like crazy, but aren't all innovative and I guess like popular. Isn't anything ever crazy to begin with?
Yeah, exactly. Like it has to be, or else it's
Like,
not innovative enough, or else it's too normal.
Yeah, anything that's not like a part of our like fundamental function as human beings was considered crazy when it was first brought up.
I'm sure the wheel would have been crazy when it first got invented.
Yeah. Like exactly.
Ooga
Like
booga.
what is this?
Why wheel? We can walk.
Like, exactly. Plus, I feel like history will always repeat itself. Like in regards to, on our other episode, we discussed AI taking jobs away. It's like the Industrial Revolution. Everyone thought that would like end every job, but no, Industrial Revolution happened, and look at us now. We still got jobs. Got plenty of jobs.
Exactly. Like I was at a restaurant the other day, and a goddamn robot like brought my food over to me.
Yeah. Genuinely?
Sorry?
Wait, genuinely.
A robot server.
I never knew they deployed it.
Oh,
here.
yeah, it's
I,
here.
I never knew they deployed it.
I
Here.
can't remember the name of the restaurant with my family, but
What?
it was so funny. I got a video of my dad getting food off the robot, and then the robot started running away with the rest of the food while still on it.
He was scared. He was scared.
And it's even funnier because it has like a face on the screen.
Yeah, because I've seen some.
Well, I need to find that restaurant. We need to go
Yeah, we
there.
need to go there.
We all need to go there and just
Clarity conference dinner.
live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a
Live stream, set the camera on the table.
Yeah.
Bismillah.
10 minutes in the live stream, we're going to get told it'll be like, you can't record inside. Okay.
Live stream
We'll
ended.
have the robot like as the guest.
Would sticky tape the camera to the robot when it walks around the
That would be
restaurant?
interesting. That would actually be interesting. Also highly illegal, however interesting.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh my god. What are we on about now?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I guess yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the time now?
12:05.
12:05. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just
we
saying
could-
soon.
Yeah, we've been on for about
50 minutes?
almost
Yeah.
46 minutes. So are there any sort of
50
other
minutes.
Uh-huh.
How dare you?
But are there any other discussion topics like around this that we'd like to discuss? Because I feel like we've covered a lot of, I guess just everything around creativity and insanity
I mean,
and the people that may be considered either one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to talk about Alan Turing, which was my main takeaway.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
So,
So yeah.
I guess we can end the episode off with, I guess this is like, I don't know, it's kind of a tough question, but where do you draw the line and say someone is like crazy? What's the actual moment that you start calling someone crazy instead of like innovative?
I have an opinion on this, although I don't know if this opinion itself may be seen as crazy or like bum. In my opinion, as much as I was saying before, like, oh, Van Gogh cutting off his ear is like crazy and stuff like that, I've come to a realization. I feel like there is no, I don't know, I feel like there's no true thing of being actually crazy. I feel like the reason like people say you can be clinically crazy is just so you can then be treated with pharmaceuticals and like support the pharmaceutical market. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like I know this contradicts what I was saying before, but I only just realized this before. Like, no one can truly be absolutely crazy, because I feel like the only reason they'll try and call you crazy is so they can get you on medication and pharmaceuticals.
That's a very interesting take.
I agree. I reckon there's some truth in that, especially in modern day society.
Because I also know, like, I know there can be counter arguments to what I just said with like, oh, how about these mass murderers? They just did it. Like, I understand, but you need to look more into the situation. You can't just instantly assume, like, okay, I know this sounds bad, but like, you can't just instantly assume because someone did a certain thing, they're just crazy straight away, you know?
Well, yeah, there is a difference between somebody who is crazy and there's somebody who is like mentally ill, like they've got something biologically.
Sorry, there you go. You articulated it better.
Yeah,
That, exactly.
biologically something wrong with them.
Like
So-
hormones, genes,
Correct,
all that.
correct.
Yeah, something like that, like chemical
Like
imbalances.
imbalance. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that is like factual.
Like
Whereas-
sociopath, psychopaths.
Whereas, yeah. Whereas, like personality disorders and stuff, they're
Yeah,
based
right.
off of. Well, see, I'm no like psychiatrist or psychologist or anything like that, but I think a lot of things such as ADHD, they're diagnosed, I think, like incorrectly. I feel,
Yeah.
and it's because like I think obviously now this is like Joe and I went to, if you guys don't know, Joe and I went to one of Jordan Peterson's shows that were here in the Adelaide Entertainment Centre, and basically somebody in the crowd asked about, I guess, people diagnosed with ADHD and being given medication, and whether that's like ethical or if that's what he thinks is like morally correct. And he said, well, he believes that kind of ADHD, the diagnosis for ADHD is kind of a fraud, and that it's like it's just another word for hyperactive people that like haven't been given a chance to put their energy into certain things. Because if you're putting your energy into all these different things, you don't have like that built up energy to I guess act in a way that is socially undesirable.
Yeah.
So like in saying that the diagnosis for ADHD is, I guess, in my opinion as well, built upon pushing the performance, like boosting the performance of pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And so yeah, I guess it's like so easy to call people crazy nowadays because it's so like normalized, you know. It's like, oh, you know, you're acting a bit weird, like go take these.
Yeah, exactly.
meds,
Like, they
like,
try and solve everything with
normal
medication.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at like back in the medieval days, a lot of things were like
thought there's another-
natural, and they did pretty good. Like, I'm not going to say it cured everything and stuff like that, but
I mean, the
It-
thing
it's-
is,
there's a
we don't
normal-
know. We don't know.
There's a different, I feel like this is kind of out there a little bit, but I feel like there's definitely another motive other than boosting the pharmaceutical companies as well. It's like a way to sort of like silence the people that
Yeah.
are like a bit
Drug the
out,
population.
like make
a
them
bit-
outlandish.
Yeah,
like,
like make them seem crazy.
exactly. Just
So they don't like sort of, I guess, convince other people that there are other things going on
and
at hand.
I just thought something
why-
based on
why
what
do
you
I
said.
feel-
So like, if because they don't want the people to go outside of their no, sorry, because let's say like the society doesn't want people to go outside of the box. They want to keep them controlled. If they see someone trying to do good and escape it, then they call them crazy and like, oh, they need to take this medication, they need that. So then other people look and go, oh, I shouldn't be like that. That's crazy, to keep them all controlled. It's like, once again,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say my thoughts or anything on it. However, like Andrew Tate, like people don't call him crazy, but they call him misogynistic, like evil, essentially. They kind of paint like. But once again, I'm not gonna say anything about it. But like, yeah, it's just interesting to see how they're trying to silence him.
It's funny as like how the more creative people and the more like innovative people and people and who also have a huge following or have built a huge following on a platform and like their voice is heard by so many people. It's funny how like a lot of them are silenced.
Yeah.
It's just funny like how there's just, you know, like all of a sudden I guess you just like that. What am I trying to say? There's a certain line that like once that's met, like they're instantly just like silenced. Right? Like you say anything too outlandish and you know your comments are taken down from platforms. Like it's like they're trying to sort of like control your speech so you don't say anything too outlandish and convince other people of
Like the truth, you know what I mean?
like, you know,
so wait,
the
so
so-called
like
truth.
hate speech, cursing.
That's different.
foul
No, that's
language.
different. It's people with outlandish ideas rather than people who are just like straight up racist. So yeah, I don't think that should be on a platform,
Yeah.
obviously.
So people with different opinions of how society should be structured.
Yeah, essentially.
pretty much, yeah. But yeah,
And why would that be taken down?
it is taken
So
down
it's-
though.
Like,
Yeah,
can
no,
you
the
name an
time, yeah.
example?
Andrew Tate, Kanye
Yeah,
West. He's pretty much like.
I mean, Andrew Tate and Kanye West are not good examples to begin with.
Why are they not good examples to
I
begin
mean,
with?
one's a word anti-Semitic, and the other one's just
See, that's
very
the
sexist.
but that's the exact thing that
So
That's
I'm about to go
like you're a
DEFCON
product.
2 on the Jews. how was that restructuring society? I think someone who also wanted to go DEFCON 2 on the Jews died in like 1945.
I mean, Kanye is mentally ill. Like, there are some things that he says that are
Yeah,
outlandish.
because there's like bipolar. Yeah.
But
I think there are some things where you can't blame mental illness after a certain
What do you
point
mean blame-
if it's a reoccurring theme.
what are we recurring? Like, bipolar is a lifelong mental
but
illness
he's always been anti-Semitic.
because he's bipolar,
Okay.
and he hasn't always been anti-Semitic. When did he?
Like always. So like early 2000s, like 9s and all that.
Like, give an example.
I can't think of an example, but I know there are examples.
I don't know, Joe. Do you know an example? Because like, you're more of a Kanye fan than I am. So, like, of him being, you know.
No, I don't know.
Like, it's only been as of recent with like his disputes with Adidas, and like he's always done things a bit like out there, but he's never been to the point where like it would be considered hate speech. Like he did that thing with like Taylor Swift or whatever, but that's not like
finish, but
that's not like an actual
yeah.
We're diving into this like too much because we're running
Yeah, a bit
short on
short
time.
time.
So I don't know. I think we should probably wrap it up. Yeah.
Would you like to end? I'm
Would
done.
you like to say?
Would you like to end
How,
anything?
like, what was the question again? Or, like,
No,
he asked you?
we were just saying about how he didn't really like say anything anti-Semitic back, before the whole Adidas thing.
He did. Because
Like
like there
what?
was like a famous video of a bunch of college girls comparing quotes from Kanye in interviews and all that from like Hitler as well.
So like, but what did he say?
I got to look it up because it's like
Yeah.
on the spot.
But I mean,
yeah.
if you're gonna say things like that, then like you gotta like provide like an actual like a specific example, because like otherwise there's, you know, anybody could just say anything's hate speech. You know what I mean? Like a few college girls is like a kind of weird example because they just like, you know,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah, like-
college girls.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
No, like if you look it up on the internet, you can find some resources where
yeah,
it dates back to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because I don't think them two are a good example for a change bringing society. But yeah, so something that I would consider altering social norms and everything was like the achievements of Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk,
Well,
Alan
that's the thing.
Turing.
That's the thing. Like Kanye altered the way that people enjoy music and the type of music that people listen to, and you know, I think that's definitely altering the world, and also fashion as well.
He
Like, he was a creative genius
absolutely changed
in
fashion.
all areas.
Yeah.
Like fashion, music, what else? Just business, marketing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like just the way that he did everything, he's so ahead of his time.
yeah.
And that was only due to him having
These outlandish.
these outlandish ideas. I guess
perceived
not
as
those
outlandish, yeah.
outlandish ideas, but
yeah, exactly.
those,
But
those
yeah.
different ideas, you know. But yeah,
Well,
on that note, on that note,
have to
we
go.
really need to really end this because we got work, so
yeah.
we've got to go. So I hope everyone enjoyed that episode. We're back, and I hope you guys like the new look of the setup here. I'm gonna play with the camera angles a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. We'll sort it out.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
Nothing can come to mind, no.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
All
all
right,
good.
thank you guys for
All right, thank
watching,
you for tuning
and see you next time.
Easy.
So.
Thank you, guys.